1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. We are rolling. We're going to be giving Adrian a call in about 5 minutes, and we're not gonna start rolling until after we have like a little briefing and give him a breakdown of.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dufftown. This is an honor to have Adrian here. Adrian, episode 1, kicking it off. We've been talking a little bit on Facebook back and forth about a little bit, not really into too much detail about everything that you've got going on, but what I've been seeing and the layout for our interview here, we started off with business. So the first topic is business. But before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, like where you're from and things like that?
Yeah, so Northern California, Sacktown, born and raised, been here my whole life. I lived in Illinois for a year, but lived in Northern California, grew up riding dirt bikes, any kind of extreme sports, MMA, BMX, skateboarding, man, even scooters, just anything I could do that was extreme. I was living my life to the fullest, living it on the edge. And so that's a big part of being in the Northern California lifestyle is a lot of outdoors adventures, kayaking, hiking, camping, all that fun stuff. I rode a dirt bike before I even rode a bicycle. So it's a big part of who I am, and I love the outdoors. But I am a social impact entrepreneur at heart. That's what I love to do. It's what I'm passionate about. I was the kid in school that was very kind and caring towards my teachers, but I was also the rebel. So I was not following the status quo, not doing what everybody else was doing. I was just kind of going against the grain on a lot of things. And that's just kind of how I was raised. And I was raised in a really rough home and environment. My grandfather and my grandmother raised me for the first few years of my life, and until he passed away in front of me when I was 4, which then I went to go live with my dad and my stepmom. And my mom and my dad had split when I was just a baby, and I didn't actually get to meet her until I was 17, and then ended up homeless at 10, got booted out and sent to my grandma's, and then I got booted out at 16. I had nowhere to go and lived on the streets for a while and picked up a laptop, learned how to do graphic design on Photoshop, thanks to my little brother who turned me on to the program. And I started doing nightlife flyers and business cards, and just as a side hustle, as I was also selling cell phones and just trying to do anything I could to make a great living and survive. Really, it wasn't even about making a great living, it was just surviving. And so that skill as a graphic designer, I had already stacked with video editing. I knew how to do both of those, and I just kept stacking skills. Went from graphic design to marketing to brand strategy, marketing strategy, advertising, SEO. I mean, started a digital agency, and I call it skill stacking. I just kept stacking skills and skills and skills, and trying to just become as sharp as I could, reading book after book after book, learning how to run a business, run an agency, scale an agency, keep clients long-term. And it was just a wild journey that I've been on for 18 years. And now it's kind of come to this place with all the preparation. You finally have that opportunity. And I got a life-changing opportunity that recently came in the last few weeks that is life-changing for myself, for my family, my team, and really everybody around me. So we've developed a software called Brand Butler, which does marketing strategy and brand strategy. And then we've also developed a program called Video Marketing Vault, which we have a mastermind group. And then we also do YouTube channel management, editing. We have our own studios, one in Sacramento, one in Vegas. And so between just those two brands, that was huge. But then we partnered up with a company 2 weeks ago called Viewit, Viewit.com, Viewit TV, Viewit Technologies, Viewit Capital. I mean, it's a massive.
Yeah, Viewit then leads right into our first topic of business, and I've been seeing on your pages you've been putting a lot of stuff up about Viewit, and I had never heard of Viewit, and so I was wondering if we could try to hone in on Viewit for a minute, and you could
Let's do it.
Maybe elaborate on what's the deal with Viewit.
Yes, so I can keep that really simple, actually. So imagine taking Netflix, Amazon, all the shopping of Amazon, ClickFunnels, you take Linktree, and you take what's the other one I'm looking for? Zoom. And then on top of all that, you take the platform of OnlyFans, not without all the explicit content, right? With all the terrible stuff, but you take the
Yeah.
platform itself and you incorporate that into it, and you take all 5 of those brands, 6 of those brands, and you merge them together, and now you have View It. And on top of that, it's also Web3. And so, being a Web3 company, it's blockchain. And the beautiful part about it is, if anybody's ever seen, that's listening to this or watching this, ever seen the Social Dilemma documentary that was done on Netflix, you know that these social media companies own our data. They have all this data on us. They have all these data on the people that we're friends with, the conversations we have, our private messages, all of that. This is going to be the first platform that gives all of that control. Not even 99% of it. 100% of the control and the data belongs to you. You control it. So if you kill it, you decide to hit the kill switch on the platform, and you don't want any of that data to go anywhere, right? The company doesn't get it to begin with. But even if you leave the platform, that data goes with you, can be transferred out, and then you can kill your whole platform, and all that data is gone because it all rests on the blockchain. And so you control and you own your own data. You can load content on there. You have memberships just like you do on some of those other platforms where people can be a
Wow.
member, like Patreon and things like that. You can load videos, courses. We have AI built into it where you can have your courses translated into 180 different languages. You're going to have a face-to-face just like this that will instantly, with it, I think there's like a half a second to a second delay that will change. If you're in China right now, it'll change my language to Chinese as I'm speaking,
Oh
and I can
my
have a
goodness.
face-to-face consultation with you in China.
This just that brief statement you made about it, it honestly in my head kind of sounds pretty revolutionary for platforms, like the next, kind of like how video game consoles go next gen. This is like skipping a few generations of that and just going right into what is the next big thing in tech. It sounds like almost everything into one platform, but also allows the user to have full control over their data. That is definitely a huge
And
change.
monetize it. So if you want to run ads on your own network, you can run ads, just like be your own Google Ads network. If you want to have native shopping within your content, so someone's watching a video about tech gadgets and there's 7 gadgets in the video, while they're watching the video, on the video itself, you'll be able to purchase the gadgets, whatever gadgets that I'm talking about in the video. Shopping will be integrated into a marketplace. And then, as a good example, my wife's got a business called Crunchy Cottage, and her business makes elderberry syrup, fire cider, all these natural wellness products. Well, she can have her own profile, her own View It profile, and list all of her products on there. People can purchase them. They only pay a 1% credit card processing fee. She pays a
Nice.
1% instead of a
Real
three and a half
nice.
percent, which is nice, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, she can then list her products on a global marketplace where now anybody, I'm a fitness coach, I'm a health coach, I'm a nutritionist, can then take her products and list them on their own View It channel, and they can sell her stuff and make an affiliate commission. So that's all built into the platform.
That sounds incredible. But what kind of hardware would a user need in order to, utilize this platform?
A cell phone and a laptop.
For real?
That's it.
Wow. That's
Yep.
that's pretty cool.
It's absolutely insane, dude. And
That's
I've been
wicked.
blessed enough to be able to be made the face of this company in America because they have View It Latino, and then they have View It America, and so I'm going to be creating all the content, doing all the social media, doing all the YouTube videos, doing all the educational courses on the back end to teach everybody the stuff. So this is a very long-term relationship. I'll be working on this for probably the next 2 years. Biggest project
Nice.
I've ever had, and yeah, it's wild.
Really cool stuff, man. Moving right on to still kind of within business, but getting into personal a little bit. Value. What do you how would you define value in your life? Like what's valuable to you?
Value is about serving, right? Value about giving, being a giver rather than being a taker. And I think we all have experiences that are earth-shattering in our lives, right? We have those. They say there's only 3 seasons in your life. You're heading towards a storm, you're in a storm, or you're coming out of one, right? And so depending on where you've been, everybody's gone through something in their life. And so those are the moments where you either double down, dig in, lean in, and use that to become a better person, or you give up, right? And you walk away, or you curl into a ball and die, basically, right? Well, I think that value in my world is I've doubled down in that, and the springboard of how I've been able to help people with those darkest moments of my life. I've helped multiple of my friends restore their marriages because I had to restore my own marriage. I've had multiple friends that have had breakthroughs in their business and their income, and I give that stuff away freely. Like I'm not holding anything back. I just give it freely and just know and pray and ask the Lord every single day for him to bring people into my life that I can serve, that I can help, that I can impact in some way with my story. And in some way, rain or shine, he always brings that person into my life that I can then share that value with and give. And if for some reason I give that value and it makes an impact and they reach a place in their life where they need my help and they can afford my help, then that's when it comes full circle. And so I give without worrying about what's going to be in it for me at the end of the day.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's one of the better definitions of value that I've heard, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. So we'll move on to your faith, because you mentioned God and how your values seemed based off of Christianity and your relationship with God and Jesus. And let's talk about your faith a little bit, if you don't mind getting into that. Like, where did it start?
I love that.
And
yeah. So I grew up in a Christian home, right? So I have Christian values, but I don't believe that our world, our society, our country, our communities have benefited in the way that they could from religious structures and constructs. I am very much a rebel, and I feel like that is even a part of my faith. Jesus was a misfit. Jesus was a rebel, right? He didn't like religious men. Religious men are the one that took him out. And so I consider myself more along the lines of what Jesus' followers would have been when he was alive, more of a Nazarene than I do even a Christian, because I don't want to fall into the doctrine, right? I can't put God, and especially Jesus and God, I can't put them in a box, right? My friend Osman, who was a Muslim, who gets on his hands and knees multiple times a day, spends time in prayer, fasts for his Lord, his God, just because he calls his God a different name. I think God's like, oh my gosh, yeah, he calls him Allah or whatever he calls him. Yeah, he's definitely not going to heaven. That man lives and walks in his faith and his God better than most men that I've ever met in my life, and actually walks it out, serves people, loves people. And so I just don't believe in putting God in a box. And I think that God is so much bigger than that, so much bigger than our human constructs and our names and our language and our words. Sure. So I think society has become toxic about that, and that's why wars are fought. And so, yeah, I'm a Christian and I have Christian values, but I'm really just a Jesus follower. I know Jesus walked this earth. I know he committed or created over 400 different miracles in his lifetime that were witnessed by thousands of people. Like, there's no doubts in any of that. And he's shown up and done miracles in my own life on multiple occasions, saved my life on multiple occasions. So I've seen him work. I've heard the word of the Lord in my own life. So there's zero doubt. My stepmom was one of the people in my life where she gets credit for this, because she can't get credit for a lot, but she gets credit for this. Is when I was a kid, she asked me, do you love your brother? And I was like, yeah, of course I love my brother. She's like, well, how do you know? And I was like, what do you mean, how do I know? Like, I just look at him and he's my little brother. Like, I love him. I'd do anything for him. She's like, that right there is God. And I was like, whoa, what do you mean? She's like, you can't see it. You can't touch it. You can't like physically, it's just a feeling, right? That's God. And ever since that moment, every time I've gone through dark seasons and dark moments, I've always remembered that advice of God is love. Just because you can't see it, you can't touch it, it's not a physical apparition in front of you, right? Or maybe you've never even experienced the presence of the Lord, it doesn't mean it's not real, right? That same power, that same presence that I feel for my brother, that I feel for my wife, that I feel for my daughter, that is God. That is his power. And to deny God's existence, it's harder. You have to be more committed. Like, it's hard. You have to work harder to deny God than you do have to believe God. And the way I looked at it as a little kid, even before she said that, I was like, wait a minute. So if I'm wrong, then there is no God and I die, then I die and I'm done. But if I'm wrong on the other side and there is a God and I choose not to believe, what are the consequences on that side? Well, according to the Bible, there's some pretty dire consequences. I don't really think I want to take that chance. I think my
Yeah.
odds are better on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and live my life for God and just see how that works out. And so far in my life, I've been married twice. This is my second marriage. My first marriage fell to pieces, and I was responsible for it, but my ex-wife was also responsible for it. And then in that relationship, I was trying to do everything on my own in my own power. And I finally gave that up after dating. After my divorce, I dated and dated and dated. And I reached this point in my life where I came to the end of myself. And I said, you know what, Lord? I've been trying to do this dating thing and marriage thing and this relationship thing my whole life my way. This isn't working for me,
Yeah.
clearly. I've got a failed marriage. I've got failed dating relationships. None of this is working. So why don't we just try your way for once? I'm just going to give this up to you. I'm going to let go of the control that I think I have, which I don't actually have, but I learned that later on. But I'm just going to give this to you and see what happens. And lo and behold, a girlfriend from 16 that I've met. Then I dated at 18. Then we went about our own way, had over a decade of not seeing each other. We saw each other in restaurants and stuff because she worked in the industry. All of a sudden, just magically came back into my life. And a series of events happened that God spoke to me while I was in tears, and he was like, she's your person. And it made it
That's
so clear of all
crazy.
these little moments that we had in our life. So my relationship with God is the foundation. Like without that, I've got nothing. I am who I am on this call. He is what's flowing through me right now. He is the spirit, the power, the breath in my lungs, and everything that I am. And all the glory, all the credit, all the praise,
Yeah.
all the freaking acumen,
Amen,
that
for sure.
all goes to him.
Yo, Adrian, you touched on the entire personal category on every note that I had. You touched all of them right there. But that's perfect, man. That's an incredible explanation of your faith and your hindsight in seeing God's actions like in your life. And I feel like that's how it always is with me too. I'm like going through stuff, like not having any idea if I'm doing the right thing or if I should keep going or if I should change avenues or this or that. But then going in hindsight, I'm like, well, I guess that was God nudging me in whatever direction, and here we are now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let go and let God.
Well, we're gonna lighten up the subject a little bit with fun and hobbies. What
Sweet.
do you have any vacations planned?
Always. Dude, I got so many trips. I've been on like 7 or 8 trips this year, maybe more. But mostly work trips. But San Diego is always a beautiful one. I went for my wife's birthday, and that was a blast. We had a mastermind event, and then I closed it out with her birthday in San Diego. Spent a few days there. Hawaii's on the docket. Barcelona's on the docket again. I haven't been to Barcelona in a
Nice.
few years. And then probably Sicily, something like that. And then one of the countries I actually want to go to that just popped up on my radar from a friend of mine is Istanbul.
Ooh,
And I've heard nothing but incredible stuff from people over the last 6 months about Istanbul. Never even heard anybody bring it up about going there. And now I've had 3 or 4 people be like, oh my gosh, you got to go there. It's the most amazing. They have this fusion of like Asian culture and Christian culture and Muslim culture. It's like this melting pot. And they have these huge
nice.
mosques with pictures of Jesus and
It does
pictures of,
sound incredible.
the
I never would
Buddha.
have
And I'm
thought.
like,
Never would have thought that
yep.
about Istanbul. You know, that's cool.
Istanbul, of all places. And so it's like this melting pot of all these religions where they all commingle peacefully, all even in the same buildings, which is crazy. So I'm like really interested and captivated by that thought,
Yeah,
and seeing what the presence of how the
gotta
presence of God
gotta
is
get in
in a
there.
place
Gotta
like
get
that.
in there and see it and feel it. That would be really
Yep,
cool to go and experience something like that.
absolutely. So hobbies outside of that are, besides traveling, I would say disc golfing, motocross. I got a 450, dirt bike. I love riding. I would say also I love fishing, but I do a lot of stuff with my daughter. I'm a girl dad, so I got a 5-year-old daughter named Sunny, and we spend a lot of time drawing, doing art projects and crafts and things like that. We're big festival goers, so music
Nice.
festivals, funk. We're big funk music fans, so anything like Lettuce or Oregon or there's all kinds of really cool funk bands out there. So we listen to a lot of funk. And then music festivals, shows. That's really what we do. A lot of our vacations on is going to music festivals and shows. And
Hmm.
then outside of that, just I love to read, man. I'm an avid reader. I read
Perfect.
almost daily,
Right on to
and
the
that's where I
next
spend and
subject.
sharpen my axe.
Books.
There we
The
go.
subject is books. Let's. What's the last book you? No, actually, what are you reading now? What are you currently reading?
The book I'm reading now is by Ray Kurzweil, and is the book on singularity is nearer, and about what's coming with AI, how humans are going to morph together with AI and to empower humans to reach that next level of our evolution, and how
Mm,
that's going to affect society economically. I'm only like a chapter in and I'm hooked.
yeah, it
Incredible
sounds
book because
addicting.
oh dude, it's incredible. I read another book similar to it a few years back that got me to invest in a bunch of AI technology on the stock market. One of them is called Luminar Technologies, but it's a book called Life After Google by George Gilder. Gilder or Glider. I think it's either Glider or Gilder. That's an incredible book. I mean, it's kind of even hard to read. I had to read multiple pages multiple times because it's like, whoa, the lingo and the terminology is
Yeah.
really steep in that. But I read a lot of, like, obviously business books, personal growth books. But I'm hooked on right now on Noah Kagan's book, The $1 Million Weekend. It's just so simple, and there's so many little tactics and tricks and tangible gold nuggets throughout the book from the beginning, middle, and end. I really like that book. And then, just as far as my favorite books of all time, the book that changed my whole career path was The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. I read that about a decade ago. I have since become friends with his daughter, Amanda Holmes, who took over his legacy when he passed away. I'm about to be on her
Nice.
podcast here pretty soon.
Nice.
And that
That's
book
awesome.
is a blueprint and a roadmap. I call it the Red Bible.
Yeah.
You cannot be a business owner and not read that book. It is a guaranteed, like, you have to read it.
Can we hear the name of that one again?
Yeah, The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes.
Cool.
Some other ones that are like more fundamental, like foundational pieces: Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. That'll make you a lot aware of a lot of things, like you don't know what you don't know, and that'll bring a lot of awareness to limiting beliefs around money that people have.
Hmm.
Just similar to The Richest Man in Babylon. That's another great one by George S. Clayton. And then on the marketing side, there's some books that were pretty impactful for me, like Story Brand by Donald Miller, Purple Cow by Seth Godin. I could just go. I mean, we could nerd out on books all day long, dude. There's so many.
Nice.
4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Anything by Simon Sinek is going to be good. Malcolm Gladwell's books are phenomenal. Zig Ziglar. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on.
So definitely a good idea to dig into some books.
I mean, that's I would contribute 50% of my success to books.
Nice. That's really
Even more
cool.
than mentors, which I'm a huge advocate for mentors, but I would say half of my success has come from books. People put their
Yeah.
best stuff in a book, right? I'm writing 4 books. I got the first draft done on 2 books. I'm putting my whole heart and soul into these books. Like my last book that's coming out, it's called Design Your Future. I've been working on that for 8 years. Right?
Gotcha.
So like
So
people
you
put their
did you say you're writing 2 books, or you have written books? Have you?
I've written. So my first book is called Invisible to Iconic. It's a branding book. That one's done. I wrote the first draft. I'm working through the second draft right now, adding some graphics and images and stuff like that. My second book is called Midjourney Secrets. It's a whole book about the program Midjourney and AI art. My
Okay.
third book is called The Daily Business Minute. That one's been written. Both Midjourney and that one's been written. I have to go
Nice.
do a second draft on that. And then my last book, which is going to be my biggest book, is Design Your Future, which kind of tells the whole journey of my whole career, from marketing strategy, brand strategy, graphic design, web design, funnels. It's the whole blueprint. It's going to be the Bible for business growth and business marketing.
That's too cool, man. Congrats. Yeah, I had no idea you'd
Thank you.
written some books, but that's exciting. I'm gonna have to pick one
I'm a
up
creator.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I
We'll
got my
go
Love
right
Gangster
on.
brand.
You got your what? I was just about to mention your
My love,
brands and stuff.
yeah, my Love Gangster brand. So this is my most recent brand I created, and I got the cool symbol I made that's on the sleeve.
Nice.
I actually used AI to help me come up with the initial concepts, and then I went in and made some changes to it. But that whole concept is a podcast, but more of a lifestyle brand. I'm going to be doing a movie off of it. I got a Love Gangster book
Nice.
I've got in the pipeline. So it's about
Yo.
social impact and killing them with kindness. Right when someone flips you off on the freeway, just respond, blow them a kiss,
Yeah.
give them a
The
little,
love
heart,
gangster. I
right?
love it. That's great.
Be a gangster, be the love gangster, right?
The
Kill them with
gangster of
kindness. And so it's about
love.
doing random acts, putting words into action, and actually going out there and feeding the homeless, helping at-risk youth, helping domestic violence victims, giving people food, donating clothes, like any kind of random act of kindness or just any kind of social impact that you can incorporate into your life and into your business. Every client that I work with has to have a cause behind their brand. If they're not cause-based, I will not work with them, period. And so the Love Gangster was just a brand that I was able to create that embodied who I am. I love mafia movies. I've always been a mafia guy. I grew up on the streets, fights and the whole thing. So I kind of had that gangster side. And I believe that if there are past lives, I was definitely a mafia boss in my last lifetime
Yeah.
and got taken out. And I used fear to get respect. And this time, in this life, I'm using love and
Nice.
kindness to earn respect. So my Love
I
Gangster
love
brand is
it.
just something that just is really close to my heart and something that I really want to build into something that I go create a million Love Gangsters around the world that are just helping people on a daily basis.
Gotcha. What is a link or website where people can go to check out the Love Gangster merch?
So that's going to be on my View It channel. So if they check out View It, I have a Love Gangster channel there. I haven't added the merch yet. I just got these in like 2 weeks ago. But I got hats, purple hats just like this with this symbol on the front and the puff embroidery, which are going to be dope.
Nice.
I got sweatshirts. I got the white T-shirts. I got black T-shirts. So I got a bunch more stuff coming. I'm going to get it all on my View It channel. And that's where that's going to go. I also bought thelovegangster.com, which I believe at the moment forwards to my Spotify where the podcast is, because I've done 12 episodes. Season 1 is out. Season 2 is coming. And so, yeah, that's kind of the Love Gangster. And then I have it on my YouTube channel. Adrian Boysel. You can check it out.
You mentioned your podcast?
Yeah, that's Love Gangster is my podcast.
Oh, sweet. Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask about that's jumping right into our next category, which is your content and content creation, and the vision and ideas. Like, what's the majority of the content that you create? Would you say it's videos? Would you say it's graphic design, or what would you say?
Everything starts from videos. Literally everything I do starts with a video. Even if I'm doing a logo design or graphic design, I start it with a video. Brainstorming, researching, so I can document my journey. I try to document as much as I possibly can throughout my day, just regular working, client meetings, team meetings, family meeting. I mean, I try to just document as much as I possibly can because I throw it into a folder and I can use it for future stuff, for longer videos. If I have a year's worth of footage, all of a sudden I want to make a video off of that and show what happened in the last year and show a journey. I got all that documentation, right? So everything for me starts from a video. My blog articles are based off of videos. My ebooks are based off of videos. My books are based off of videos. Like everything that I'm doing, I'm creating everything as repurposed. My shorts come from my long form videos. I mean, everything I create starts with a video. Nice. Social media content starts with a video.
Very cool. Let's move on to, since you're doing View It, my next category is social medias. Are you going to try to solely do View It, or are you going to stick to other social media platforms, or what do you think? What are you thinking about in terms of...
In 1 year from now, I'll have a big enough audience, big enough following, big enough email list, big enough subscriber base on YouTube, where all of my traffic is going to funnel to View It, and that will be the exclusive place to find me. You won't find me anywhere else other than View It and YouTube.
Nice.
Those will be my 2 platforms. I'll be done with Facebook, done with Instagram, done with LinkedIn. Those are great platforms, great places to start, but I'll have reached that place where my content and the stuff that I've put together is just going to be too valuable to just continue to just give it away freely,
Nice. That's too cool,
YouTube
man.
will be the place for that.
So what is your YouTube channel?
It's just my name, Adrian Boysel.
All right, Adrian Boysel. I was going to ask you that too. How do you pronounce your last name? Boysel.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. It's a French last name. When people from France came over to the United States, it was Boyseo, S-E-O, just like the marketing thing. So it was Boyseo, but they changed it to Boysel. I don't know why. I actually think Boysel is kind of cool versus
Yeah.
Boysel. Because people call it Boysel, and I'm like, I don't have a Z in my name, so there's no
Yeah.
Z, it's Boysel. So, and I've actually added an L at times, the extra L, just to help people pronounce it better.
I
Two
gotcha.
L's is easier to pronounce than with the one L.
Well, Adrian Boysel, I want to say thanks again one more time for being willing to do this.
That's awesome.
But yeah, thanks so much, Adrian. Anything else you'd like to say to the audience?
No, I just want to encourage everybody, challenge everybody to go out there and do a random act of kindness for somebody today. Call somebody you haven't talked to in a long time and tell them that you care about them, that you love them. If you see a homeless person, even though you don't want to give them the money, the cash that you have sitting in your center console, give it to them. If you see a family in need, you hear of somebody in need, maybe go post on your Facebook, who's somebody that I can help and support today. Just go out there and love on somebody today and watch the ripple effect that it creates for them and for you and for just the world. So that's my encouragement.